So Hawaii has every type of hazard or threat, right? We have volcanoes, earthquake with the volcanoes, tsunamis, not just generated locally, but throughout the Ring of Fire. Of course, hurricanes. So we face every kind of threat and hazard, flooding, landslides, wildfire. We're in a drought right now, so the islands are really dry. So fires are a concern. So yeah, it's a challenging, I think, landscape for emergency management in Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah. Just as you described it, I mean, facing all of those disasters, I mean, sometimes I bet simultaneously,
Yeah.
and trying to coordinate and communicate not just with emergency management officials, but with residents,
Yeah.
which brings me back to the outdoor warning system and why these
Hmm.
tests are so important. I know you joined the office in 2023 before the really devastating 2023 Lahaina fires. I'm curious, did the office conduct monthly tests of the outdoor warning system prior to those fires, or was it
Yeah.
after that they start implementing them?
No, we've always tested the sirens on the first of the month. There's, over 400 sirens across the state in on all of the islands. So monthly we test them. We run it's 11:45 every first of the month or the first working day. And we run all the sirens, get the report back to see, okay, what was working, are there issues, and what can we address immediately, and then what do I need to leverage contractors to help me with.
Hmm. What are some of the common issues if there's issues with the sirens?
So the battery, the lifetime, lifespan of the battery, or a lot of times there's connectivity issues from our systems here to the sirens. There's some breakdown in the connectivity or the wiring. Like they're outdoor sirens, so a lot of times geckos, lizards will get in there, they get fried and then die, and then I'll short circuit the siren. So yeah, there's so not only the hazards from, Mother Nature, but we have critters that can short circuit our sirens. Um, some sirens are vandalized every once in a while. We have knuckleheads that go out and try to steal pieces of it. So that some sirens, we address that sometimes. But they're outdoors and they take a beating from the sun and the wind and the salt air. They're down by the ocean, so they're exposed 365 days a year to the elements. So they get old, and we we just got to have a good maintenance plan and rotation plan. So most of the time, we've seen a lot of uh, geckos getting into the boxes and short circuiting it.
That is not something that I would have expected you to say, but but
Yeah,
it makes sense. It
yeah,
makes sense. You not only have to worry about the internal wiring, you have to worry about all of the animals that might disrupt or damage it.
yeah.
What triggers the outdoor warning system or the outdoor siren system to go off?
Uh, the state and the counties can activate sirens. So it's at both jurisdictions. So depending on the event, the sirens would be activated by the county. So if there's a wildfire very specific to an area, the counties can geofence it and sound sirens that they want. If they cannot do that, then they reach out to us and we can activate the sirens for them. If
Mm.
it's a statewide, for example, the tsunami warning that the state went into, we activated at the state level all the sirens at one time.
Mm. Is there
Yeah.
any educational campaigns to remind residents like what the sound means and what they should do when they hear it?
Holy moly, we're trying every medium possible. So I just got a question today on, okay, what's the wildfire sound? There is no wildfire sound. It's one alert siren. It's a warning to alert you that something's happening. Pay attention. Use these other forms of notification to find out what's going on. Because historically, back in the day when I was growing up, we did have like five different tones for different events. And I think that was part of our civil defense. As you know, sirens historically are back when air raid sirens. That's where we start. It's really in civil defense. And then it evolves and morphs into, what we have now is all hazards. So we did have s different tones for different events. Now we have one tone and it's an alert siren, pay attention, something's happening. I need your attention. I need you to find out what's going on.
Mhm. There have been studies done recently that show that having a single emergency alert sound is more effective than having, as you said, multiple
Yeah,
sounds because it doesn't confuse residents. They don't have to, think about what the specific directions are per emergency. They just know that
yeah,
something is happening and to, check with their emergency officials. I mean, you haven't been working in the office that long, and I assume that the air raid sirens predated your you're
yes.
assuming to the office.
But what's
Um,
funny is that we still have some of those air raid sirens in our inventory.
really?
When you look on our map, they're up higher in the mountains
Hmm,
and they're coated black, meaning we got to replace them.
I
They're no
see.
longer operational. But when I ask, what is this siren? Oh, that's from 1947. Like, what? Yeah. So we're slowly replacing those up higher in the mountains.
Got it, got it. Do you think they'll still be used for civil defense? Or are you going to replace them with this outdoor hazard siren?
No, we'll replace them with these outdoor hazard sirens. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so when you mention you're attempting to use almost every medium possible to reach residents, break it down for me. Give me the list.
So we do have the sirens is the first one, and then we have WIA, the wireless that gets pushed out, and then AS on the TV, the one that comes on the top of the screen.
Hmm.
So National Weather Service, NOAA can push those out. We have the ability to push those out, and the counties have the ability to push that out. But that once you push it out, that's statewide. And then we go specifically, every county has a platform that they use. For example, the Big Island, Hawaii Island uses Everbridge.
Hmm.
Maui just started with Genesis, a new platform that pushes out messaging. Honolulu has a H&L Alert, and then Kauai has Winds, their platform that they use to communicate to citizens of their island. So everybody has their own very specific platform. And then of course, we have the social media platforms that we use, X, um, Instagram, Facebook, and with that network too, we can get messaging out fairly quick as we partner with some influential individuals on those platforms.
Yeah, you really are tapping into every tool in your tool belt to reach people and make sure they are informed of what's
Yeah.
going on. I'm
No,
curious, you
so
mentioned.
when somebody comes in and says, "I don't have a cell phone," well, there's FM and AM radios that you can buy, and messaging goes out there. When we send it out, it goes out on the TV, it goes out on radio, it goes out on social media, the sirens, um, and then really the other piece that we're messaging is, hey, check on your neighbors on the left and right of you, ensuring that they know what's happening too. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because oftentimes, it's true. Some people could be sleeping, some people could be
yeah,
out, some people could have pets and not
yeah,
realize that there are dangers or hazards.
yeah.
I want to go back to what you said. You mentioned that multiple islands use different platforms to support the alert system. Why not have it be more uniform? Why not have just one platform for all of the islands?
So we are talking about that. And it was just a matter of some counties were, I think, a little ahead of other counties. And then all of a sudden now that county really enjoys the platform that they're using. And Maui, they recently came on board with the Genesis, which, they're working through and they love it. Um, so it's quite difficult to pull people off of something you like and say, hey, we're going to do a statewide one. Um, but we are talking about that. The good thing is that from the state perspective, I can alert the entire state through the wireless network, through AAS and through the sirens.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that platform, and then the counties have very specific platforms that they use. For example, on the Genesis for Maui, it's by districts. They broke the entire island, the entire county up by sections, and they can activate and put messaging per district. The Everbridge that the Big Island does, they can do the same thing. They can kind of geo fence. I don't want the entire island to know this. I just need these folks to know this. So it's um I think user friendly for the counties, and they choose that platform. We I'm trying to as we socialize having a state network,
Mm.
what would it be more cost effective for all of us to do that? So I think the next conversation we have with myself and the administrators from the counties, we'll get an update from Maui on Genesis and how well it's working there, because that could be something. I think we're open, to statewide,
Mm.
perhaps. So it's not something that we're against. We're not there yet, and we're still kind of socializing. So, but we'll have Maui will give us an update and let us know the status and his thoughts on how Genesis is working for Maui County.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, it seems like if it is, financially a good option, as well as because there will be a transition period. And I'm
Yeah,
sure, as you mentioned, all of the different natural disasters that the island experiences, how operationally effective is it to actually transition to one platform, and how
yeah,
long will that take? How does Hawaii ensure the resilience of these alert systems, given that a lot of times hurricanes, tsunamis, floods, wildfires can take out some of the connectivity that helps support and push out these alerts?
yeah. So that's why we push out the alerts early. So, for example, a hurricane approaching us or a tsunami, right? We have that window of time that we're pushing out alerts. Something happening because if the networks go down, then we'd have to according to our cell providers, their system is very resilient, and it would, if this tower goes down, another tower would pick up, and there's overlap. So that's part of the state's overall communication plan. And then when our worst day happens, we have our amateur radio folks that are part of the network. In fact, they stood up during the tsunami, and they had their networks across the state, and it's line of sight communication. So it's neighbors pushing a message across the state and across the islands. So that would be another way that we'd communicate across the state. But there's a lot of the systems that we would deploy that we'd push out. We do have like the cellular. It's called a cow. I know the C stands for cellular. I don't know what the rest stands for, but
Mm.
it's a mobile cell tower that we could throw somewhere, that if this network went down here, we could put a tower up here. And it's working with both AT&T and T and Verizon and Sprint. So that would be a solution we could deploy. Of course, there's Starlink that everybody just really. In fact, some of the elected officials like, why don't you just use Starlink?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a good solution, but it's not that solution set that can do this.
I see.
So yeah.
So Starlink, is it just Starlink, or is it satellites aren't the most reliable for Hawaii's needs?
No, no, it's reliable,
Mm.
but if I deploy a Starlink, it's just for this area, right? And then do another Starlink because you got to connect to that,
Yeah,
uh,
you'd have to build an entire constellation.
right? All over, and it's like, I don't know. So we do have Starlinks that we can deploy in an event.
Hmm.
So that's part of our contingency plan too.
Okay, great. Yeah, it seems like you have lots of irons in the fire. How did September's test of the outdoor warning system and emergency alert system go?
I thought that piece was I used to be a teacher. I would give that probably a B plus A minus.
Oh, okay. That is a very
Uh,
high score. What missed the mark?
I think tightening up our messaging that went out. So the sirens worked. We knew some sirens would not work on the coastline, so we had our Civil Air Patrol. They launched and they flew along the coastline, letting people know, hey, we're in a warning, evacuate the coastline. We're evacuating the coastline. So that went out. The messaging went out on a very timely manner from the state. So that was good, and we pushed it out all our social media, and then we did with the governor press conferences. I think was about hourly that we came up online and said, "Hey, here's what's happening in state. This is what we need you to do." I think part of the messaging on the evacuation piece would be really assess where you are and make that personal call um, off of where you're sitting. So if you're sitting in Waikiki 4 stories above, 4 stories and above, then probably stay there. Stay in Waikiki. You're okay. If you're a tourist and you're outside of Waikiki and you're at the Pali, don't come back into Waikiki.
Mm.
If at all possible, don't get on the roads. Just, you know, stay where you're at, hunker down where you're at. And if you're in a hardened building 4 stories and above, you're okay. So I think we needed to push that message out hard. And a lot of times you could walk out of the evacuation area, so you didn't need your car. Walk out, go to Zippy's, go to the local bar and hang out until
Yeah,
the all clear.
just wait it out.
Yeah, yeah,
All right, so I see. So one of the lessons learned is to tailor the messaging based on someone's actual physical location, not just where they're
yeah,
located
yeah,
within the island or the counties, but their actual topography of their location. Like if they are at high elevation, if they're on the beach, if they're
yeah,
in the cities. Okay, got it. That makes a lot of
yeah.
sense. My last question for you is, the Trump administration has been in office since January and have made some significant cuts to the federal agencies that really support a lot of these emergency alert systems, NOAA, NWS. Um, I'm curious if you've noticed an impact to the emergency alerts that Hawaii is able to push out since the administration has come over and implemented some of these cuts, or if maybe there's been no effect.
As far as our ability to notify through these various methods, we haven't seen the effect.
Mm,
Uh, I am concerned about cuts to various grants because we use a lot of grants to support our sirens,
mm.
those in the tsunami zones and those outside of the inundation zone. So I'm concerned about those cuts. So I'm watching those grants closely. We were concerned about NOAA and the impact the NOAA freezes and the cuts to personnel would have on the Pacific Basin. Recently learned that, interesting enough, after the Texas floods, the federal government realized, oh, I think we need National Weather Service. They're vital to our safety. So the freezes were lifted, so they're able to hire folks back. So I think we'll see some new faces in our Pacific National Weather Service office. But from January till now, we haven't really. um, seen the kind of impact that we were concerned about at one point.
hmm Well, I'll also be following the grants closely and hope that Hawaii continues to receive the federal support that it needs. And I'm, always happy to hear that federal agencies, especially ones that support disaster management and mitigation, can continue to hire people who
Yeah,
are qualified and can continue to do this work. I am sorry that it did take another
yeah,
catastrophic event for
yeah,
them to find these offices meaningful,
yeah.
even though uh, millions of Americans rely on them every single day. Uh,
And smart people are telling them too that this is what's needed. One of the things for the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, and our lesson learned, and one of our talking points is really we need more buoys out there.
mm,
We need so the scientists can get more data to give us better assessments on what's happening with the energy from an earthquake. So the better equipped we are throughout the Pacific, the better data we can have, the better we can prepare our citizens. So it's really having that depth of buoys right there. There shouldn't be one buoy here and then nothing. I have to wait for a wave. It should be layered so that we can see what's happening with the ocean, and we can make a better assessment of what our citizens need to do.
Yeah, it's all connected. The data
Yeah,
that research and scientists collect to
yeah,
how people can, organize evacuations and egress to
yeah,
emergency alerts and geofencing and which areas are the most vulnerable. Everything is connected. I don't think
yeah,
anything, especially when it comes to emergency management, operates in a silo.
yeah,
So I hope you get the support that you're needing.
yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
but Administrator Barros, those are all the questions that I have for you. Is there anything
Okay.
else you want to say about emergency management in Hawaii, the outdoor warning system test that I didn't get a chance to ask you?
Uh, no, I think, we are an island. We recognize the fact that the tyranny of distance for us really makes a difference. So what my center of gravity here in Hawaii is strengthening communities. These small neighborhoods, these communities, these folks that come together in their area to say, "Hey, I want to be ready for whatever comes our way. I want to know what to do for response, and I want to help with recovery, and then I want to be able to, from the ground up, help with mitigation." So it's for me, I think the communities and strengthening them, empowering them, and including them in our emergency management enterprise is vital for Hawaii.